Hi, in today's video we are going to study data joins. In our next video we will look into detail how to update our selection. Enter and exit commands. Data join will help us by removing, modifying or injecting new elements into HTML page based upon data set which is inside HTML document. Our data can be in any form. That means it can be an array which is stored inside a variable, or it can be stored or any object which is read from a file like CSV, JSON or XML. And according to that data, new elements are getting added into web page, or some elements are getting removed from web page, or existing elements are getting updated as per the data in a web page. So that can be performed with the help of data join. Now every data element in a data set is related to one item. That is, that item can be a graphical item within a document by default. And any data set which is get modified is then related to item also gets updated quickly. Say for example, my array is having value 10, 20 and 30, and I am joining, or I assign these array values to 3 different circles. If any value in a data set is getting updated, my relatively circle size also get updated quickly. So that can be done with the help of data join easily. Data join also makes a close connection among the document's graphical item and data. Say for example, if I add another element, say fourth value in an array, so fourth circle will get created over a web page automatically. Or if I change my data to only 2 elements, only 2 elements or 2 circles must get rendered over a web page. So here data can dynamically render the graphical elements over a web page with the help of data join. Now we have to consider 3 cases. First case says that number of data item is equal to number of DOM element. That means if my array contains 3 data items 10, 20, 30 and my page also contains 3 empty circle tags. That means for 3 data items there are 3 empty circle tags is called as equal number of data items to equal number of DOM elements. Another case will rise when number of data items are more as compared to DOM elements. That is, in that case, we are going to make use of enter method. Third case arises when number of data items are less as compared to the number of elements over a web page. We will look into each in detail with the help of one example. First case that we are going to see is where number of elements in array is equal to the number of graphical elements. Say for example, in this node which is a part of SVG, this SVG tag which is 500 in height pixel and 700 pixel in width is having 5 empty circle tags, and here variable my data is also having 5 elements, say 10, 40, 50, 20 and 30. So here given an array, my data and a selection or data join creates using function .data. If I wish to bind these circle elements with this my data, I must select all these circles. That's why I say d3.select all circle, and this selection I am storing in a variable s. So instead of writing d3.select all circle.data, I will simply write s.data my data. So with this selection s, my data is going to get binded. Now data driven modification to these elements. Whatever the elements that we have binded with some tag or some SVG element or shape, we must change their attribute. So after joining these data to the selection, we can modify the element by passing a function into like style and attribute. The radius of circle can be changed using selection, that is S.attr. R stands for radius of a circle and circles are selected within selection S. This radius is a function of data. Whatever data we have bounded with the help of data function, that my data is now stored inside variable D. So every time D must hold some different values. So at the end we are simply returning D. So for very first circle's radius, first element of array will be stored. For second circle's radius, second element of from my data will be stored and they will be applied respectively. The function that is passed to attr is called basically 5 times. So this function is going to get called 5 times. Every time for each selection it will call 1 time. For first time we will be having value 10. So the circle's radius will be at that time 10. For second time we must store or D will be having value 40. So circle's radius will be 40 for the second circle or second time and so on. Now we can also set the class of a selection or selected element with the help of classed attribute. So to set a class, we make use of selection.classed method. This classed method must specify which class we wish to add. Say for example, I must add or I must attach my circle with high class. Now this class value must be the second parameter, whether it can be true or it can be false. If value is true, that means class will be is equal to high. If value is false, class will not be applied at all. So here instead of writing true and false directly, I here evaluate some condition. The condition here evaluated is if value is greater than or is equal to 40, the class will be set to high. And if value is lesser than 40, class will not get applied at all. So here my class is a function of data and here we are returning value of D not directly. We are here returning a comparison result. Now what is the comparison? Comparison is D is greater than or is equal to 40. So this comparison can be either true or it can be false and ultimately that value will be substituted over here. So ultimately my function will or my statement will look like s.classed high comma true or it can be like s.classed high comma false. And to position the circle horizontally, I want each of these circles get separated by some different distance in x direction. That's why I say they are positioned horizontally. So in order to position them horizontally, I must change its center in an x direction. So center of a circle in an x direction can be set using cx attribute. That's why we write s.attr cx, that is center of circle in an x direction, which is a function of data and index both. So whatever the index of circle is there, I will multiply it with some value, say 120, and using that we can change or we can separate out some different indexes or different position of a circle. The complete code will look like this. I will show you the working of this code. I'll open one new file and within this file, say I have one SVG tag and within the SVG we have one circle element and in total we have say 4 circles are there. Alright, there are 4 circles are there and here we have variable my data, uses an array type. Let's say values are 20, 40, 30 and 10 respectively. Okay, I have just randomly created this data and I need to bind this data with some circles, all these circles. So I create a selection variable s which is equal to d3.select all. So I will select all circles. So all circles will get selected and with this I will bind data with the help of data method. What I wish to bind? I wish to bind my data with this. With this selection I have bounded. Now I can also change the attributes of a circle. Say I can say a center radius of a circle which must be a function of data. So whatever the data is there, according to that my radius should be there. So within this I say return d itself. If data is 20, my circle must be having 20 radius. That's why I simply return d. So that value will be stored inside it. Second attribute that I can set with the help of attr is its y position, that is center of circle in from top. I want them horizontally, that's why their y displacement of a center of circle will be same. Say for example they are 100 pixel down from the top. So y attribute is set, r attribute is set, and I also want these circle to have some x value. So x is nothing but displacement from left. So from left I want first circle to have displacement of 100, for second I want 200 pixel away, and third center should be 300 pixel away, and so on. So again this is my function of data as well as index. So function of data and index, where I am only going to make use of index. Return index multiplied by 100. Now what will happen for first circle? Index will be 0 because it is first circle is getting binded with element at location 0. So 0 into 100, that means center will be at 0th location, which is something wrong, right? So let me always add 1. For first element, index will be not 0 now, it will be now 1. For second element, index will be 2 and so on. That's why I first add 1 to it and then multiply with 100. So for each element, for first element, center will be 100. For second, it will be 200. For third, it will be 300. And for fourth element, it will be 400. Alright, so in this cx function, I have used function of data comma index, and I have positioned them according to their index, not according to their data. And in radius I have used their radius according to the value of data itself. So note the difference between two when we are using data and when we are using index. I'll save this. As you can see, only 3 circles are getting displayed. First let me check whether circles are there or not. Only they are not getting rendered or they are not getting printed. I must check. Yes, there are 4 circles of 4 different size. I must increase my SVG size. Let me change my SVG size. Width is equal to say 700 and height is equal to say 500. I'll save. As you can see, now SVG is a larger area, and within this area we have 4 different circles of 4 different radiuses. First radius is 20, second radius is 40, third radius is 30 and fourth radius is 10. Okay, let me add one more element in this. Say for example, I have 50 over here also, and I also have one more circle tag here. Now if I save and refresh, now my web page will contain 5 different circles of 5 different classes. Now I will add CSS with the help of style tag here, that is embedded CSS. I create one class that is called as height. Now within this class, I set an attribute fill. Fill is orange. I can attach this CSS class with circle. So with the help of classed attribute, its classed attribute, I can first say name of class. Say class name is high, because here as you can see, the after period whatever the name is there in style sheet, it is a class and that class name is high. Now here I must supply two values, either it can be true or it can be false. But these values must be runtime specific. That means they must depend on data. So whenever I say they depend on data, I must compulsorily write it is a function of data. Now within this, I can first check whether D is data itself is greater than or is equal to 40. Whether data is greater than or is equal to 40, in this case return true will be there. If this condition is false, return false will be there. So using this, some of the elements must get classed as high. Now whenever the circle is attached with class high, it will get filled orange in color and rest of the circles will be black by default. Let us see, refresh. As you can see here, two circles are orange because only two values are greater than or is equal to 40. Within body, go to SVG and have a look at this circle. Second circle where radius is equal to 40, we have class is equal to height. And when radius is 50, again we have class is equal to height. And for the remaining, whenever the class value for height is returning 0, no class is getting attached. Another method that you can do is with the help of ATTR method. With the ATTR, how can you attach with class? So you write class, attribute is class, and this class is, the name of class must be there. So if I simply write this, if I wish to add this selection with some value high, so I must write high, right? But I here don't wish to attach high class with every circle. That's why I will write function of data here. Now this is function of data, and within this I will first check if D is greater than or is equal to 40. If value of D is greater than or is equal to 40, we are going to return this string high itself. So in this case, high will get returned, else we are going to return null, or I can simply write any value which is still not present or some other different class that I wish in another case to have. So simply save and refresh. Here as in this case, again go to SVG and open up the circle. As you can see, first is having class AA, second is class high, and so on. Right, so high class is associated with circle or some selection two ways, using classed method or using ATTR method.